Okay, well, we're partway through a game of Serengeti Sanctuary. This is the third turn, and we've got a start player here, which is Turquoise, and you can see the array of cards. There are one or two things left over from the previous turn, and some of the starting roles have changed because team members have been promoted. But I think we're all set to go, and Turquoise is the first player in the Boomerang draft.
Yeah, so they're looking at the board. In their hand, currently they have one giraffe. So any additional giraffes are good value. So they're looking, obviously they can see there's the 3 watering hole cards in a column, which is a nice pickup with the lion having a sanctuary token as well. They could do something, maybe swap the zebra herd with this cheetah and get the zebra herd as well using their park ranger ability. But actually thinking about it, zebra herd is worth 3 points and isn't part of a terrain set, so it has to be kind of picked up individually. But the park ranger lets you get it in addition to another pickup. 3 points for that, but the third giraffe would be worth 4 points. So it might actually be better to swap the giraffe here.
Yeah, good spot. Yeah, and actually there's a choice even of giraffes.
Yeah, I think maybe the one Savannah one looks like it would be good.
So that was your animal caretaker, yeah, because you couldn't use the trail.
Trail guide couldn't be used because the board was full on the first drafting
nice
action.
Switch there.
So a good switch with the animal caretaker, and then they're going to draft watering hole in this column, paying a sanctuary token for the park ranger ability.
Yeah, because that's your permanent team member,
to take the additional giraffe.
Nicely
done. A good first
turn. A good draft. The only other thing in your drafting phase is using the animal breeder, but you don't have that, so you can't do that. So it comes around to yellow, and yellow gets their first draft action on the boomerang draft. So first thing is trail guides. That's a couple of slides. Well, let's have a look. Yellow has an elephant in hand, and actually there are the 2 elephants out. So I think probably yellow should move across here with a first slide and then another slide. So that lines up the elephants nicely. Conservationist ability for yellow, that's refilling any of the sanctuary area slots that are empty. So let's get yellow doing that. And there we are, a couple of nice new cards out. Don't have an animal caretaker for yellow. So park ranger, that's the paying a token to add a card of a different terrain type. And the elephants will actually, that will be 2 forest with a wilderness if a token is paid. So that's the draft. There we are. Very good.
And then yellow gets their second draft because it's a boomerang draft, so it goes round and then back.
Except just at the end of that first draft action, animal breeder. So that would be paying a sanctuary token to bump. Yeah, let's get yellow doing that.
Additional value each turn.
So that is, because that's in the bank. That's always there. Second draft phase, second draft action. 2 trail guide slides, up to 2 trail guide slides. Now, what does yellow want to do? Yellow's actually got 2 meerkats. Are there any more meerkats out here?
It's that one that you revealed last turn, yeah.
Well, there are quite a few valley cards, but they're only 0 and 1. Maybe the zebra herd is a guaranteed 3. Maybe yellow should do that. So that would be a slide there to line those up. And,
You could have slid the zebra up.
Could have done that, actually.
Get those 3 valley cards in the zebra.
Well, there's a thought.
That's your 2 slides.
Okay, that would be the 2 slides. And then paying a token. Yeah. Conservationist would have to be done at this stage, but the yellow's not going to do that this time because that might help Turquoise too much. So, park ranger ability, drafting valley on this row, and then adding a card. Well, the zebra card.
It's worth good points.
Very good points. Yeah, that was the meerkat we really wanted. Lots of cards, and then the animal breeder. That would be paying a sanctuary token, but yellow has no sanctuary tokens left, so has to hand the draft back to Turquoise for the final draft action.
Yeah, and looking at the board, Turquoise, so they've got their set of giraffes. Maybe the flamingos they could start working on. What would be a good way of picking up some flamingos and some other cards? I think what they're going to do is they're going to slide this gorilla onto the board so that it gets a sanctuary token for next turn.
Yeah.
And then they're going to use the animal caretaker and then to swap this.
Because you can switch with an empty
it's any two spaces on the board.
Space, yeah.
And then they're going to draft this wilderness row, paying for the park ranger ability.
Yeah, are you sure?
Park manager, yes. That's 4 points, which they really want to use, so maybe not that. I think they'll just do wilderness then and save the 4 points.
So that was the final draft action of this drafting phase. Then we go on to the expansion phase, and that's done in player order 10. But before that, there's the cleanup. So that means clearing away all the cards that are not in the sanctuary area at the middle of the table. So all of those cards just go straight into the discard pile. Then any cards that remain on the sanctuary area get a sanctuary token just added on top of them, and they're picked up, of course, with the card if ever they're drafted in the future. So that's the end of the drafting phase. Expansion phases with Turquoise being the start player.
Yeah, so certainly their set of giraffes looks very promising. So that is 8 points for the 3 giraffes.
Nice.
Could both of these 2 cards, the lion and the cheetah, are 0 points. Yeah, so it's probably better to hang on to them. I think 3 points for 2 flamingos will do well. And then looking at their abilities, another 4 points by paying 1 sanctuary token for the park manager ability is very good.
Very good, yeah. So that's a total of 8, 9, 10, 11,
15.
12, 13, 14, 15 points. So Turquoise adds 15 points to their score.
Which takes them up to 33.
And then the 15 points they scored this turn, they now can spend on their expansion actions.
So Turquoise will want to hang on to these 2 cards for next turn because they have the potential of turning into some pretty high value sets. So that's 2 points. So they're down to...
So it's always 1 point for each card you keep in hand. Yeah, if you didn't pay the points, you could discard them, but good to hang on to.
Probably worth hanging on to them. So 13 points left to spend. I think this trail guide, they're getting a lot of good use from the animal caretaker, and the trail guide sometimes is not as powerful, so I think they're going to upgrade the trail guide to a habitat warden.
Oh, nice. So that's 4. So you had 13, that's down to 9.
9 left. And then I think they want to buy some sanctuary tokens. Yeah. So it's cost 1 for the first one, 2 for the next, and 3 and so on.
So that's
6 in total.
Those, yeah.
Should leave 3 left over. Is there anything clever that Turquoise can do with 3? I mean, the veterinarian is about to trigger, so they would probably... But they could swap to a wildlife guard and then use the tokens that they've just bought to get 2 cards. I think they're going to hang on to their tokens for next round, though, because they're quite useful for park ranger activations and the park manager activation, thinking ahead. So yeah, I think they'll waste 3, but they've made some good upgrades and got lots of tokens in the bag.
So the cards that were played by Turquoise go into the discard pile. They're gone. So and then in the expansion phase, Turquoise completes all their team member abilities as well. Obviously, the park manager's already been used.
Habitat Warden gives an additional sanctuary token for free, which is excellent.
Yeah.
And the veterinarian allows you to draw a card and then discard a card. So draw a gorilla. Now, I think...
Oh, look.
Yeah, and the lion by itself is not particularly valuable, and there's only 2 other lions in the deck. So I think they're going to discard the lion.
Ah, poor old lion. Never mind.
Over to yellow.
So yellow gets their expansion phase. So that, first of all, choosing what cards to play. So we've got a set of 3 meerkats here, which is worth 5 points. But you know what? If I can just find a way for yellow to
even
get
one more
or two more, yellow would be really well placed next turn. So yellow is going to keep those meerkats and not play them. But the elephants, there's a full set of 3 elephants. Look at that. Lovely 10 points for yellow there. The cheetah is no use on its own. The zebra is 3 points. The flamingo 1. So yellow's going
to respectable 14 already.
14. Yeah. Now also yellow has these bonuses for its
animal
population track. So that is another 3. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17
Very
points
strong.
for yellow.
Up to 38.
38. That's nice, isn't it? So
with those meerkats, yellow's well placed for next turn.
That's right. So this turn, however, yellow scored 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 points for yellow to spend on expansion action. So there are 4 cards here. Yellow's not going to pay to keep the cheetah. That's going back on the discard pile. So 3 cards, however, the meerkats, of course, are going to be kept by yellow. So 17 less 3 is 14 points left. Well, what yellow would really like to do is promote a trail guide to a wildlife guard, which costs 3. There's the cost there. So that was, how many did yellow have left?
17 down to 14.
So 14 less 3 is 11. And then, so 4 tokens would cost 10, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a total of 10. So that would be fine. And that would leave 1 point left over, which yellow's going to waste and not use. There's no problem. So those go in the discard pile. Yellow's kept 3 cards there and has got some tokens. So now, even though the Wildlife Guard is a new appointment for this turn, you can use it always on your turn, these final 3 powers. So the Wildlife Guard's ability is pay 3 sanctuary tokens. Yellow will pay 3 and draw 2 cards straight from the deck. Look at that. That's quite good. Let's see what they are. Oh, 2 hyenas, not bad. Unfortunately, no meerkat. That would have been even better. So they're into yellow's hand. Yellow doesn't have a veterinarian. That is the end of yellow's turn. So the next thing that happens right at the end of the turn is that the array is refilled. Any empty spaces in the array are just refilled straight from the deck. If the deck runs out of cards, then you shuffle the discard pile up and start again with a fresh deck. But we're okay, I think, this turn. We haven't used all the deck up. So that's a fresh array. Remember, of course, there were a couple of cards in the middle left over with the sanctuary tokens on ready. And now the new start player is determined. And the person who's in last gets to choose first whether they want to be start player next turn. It's not always an obvious decision, because sometimes going first isn't best, but sometimes it is. It gets you first pick. But Turquoise is in last, so can choose whether to be the start player.
Looking at the board, Turquoise can see that there's going to be the possibility of getting a very nice scrub land on this column, even with the possibility to swap this flamingo and get both of the sanctuary tokens.
That'll be good, yeah.
Turquoise would like to go first next turn, so they'll choose to keep
the start player token. Yeah, good. So that means the game is all set, ready for what will be the 4th turn. And looking at the players, they've got scores well into the 30s. It's almost certainly going to end on that 4th turn. I wonder what would happen.
An exciting conclusion.
Yeah.